This is going to blow your mind. Today we will talk about the end of NATO, but first, we go into the Kievan Rus legacy. The story of Ukraine and Russia begins with the Kievan Rus, a powerful East Slavic state that emerged in the 9th century. This state was a melting pot of various tribes and cultures, creating a unique blend that would influence the region for centuries to come. This medieval realm, centered around the city of Kiev, laid the groundwork for the cultural and religious identity of both nations. Kiev, often referred to as the mother of Rus cities, became a hub of political power and cultural development. The legacy of the Kievan Rus is profound, shaping language, art, and traditions. The rich tapestry of folklore, music, and literature that emerged from this period continues to resonate in modern Ukraine and Russia. The conversion of Prince Vladimir to Orthodox Christianity in 988 AD had a lasting impact on the region. This monumental decision not only unified the people under a single faith, but also aligned the Kievan Rus with the Byzantine Empire, bringing with it a wealth of cultural and intellectual exchange. This pivotal event brought the Kievan Rus into the Byzantine cultural sphere, influencing its art, architecture, and legal systems. The adoption of Byzantine legal codes and artistic styles can be seen in the grand churches and cathedrals that dot the landscape. The iconic St. Sophia Cathedral in Kiev stands as a testament to this Byzantine influence. Its stunning mosaics and frescoes are a blend of local and Byzantine artistry, symbolizing the fusion of cultures. However, the unity of the Kievan Rus was not to last. The vast territory stretching from the Baltic to the Black Sea was difficult to govern centrally. Internal strife and external pressures led to its fragmentation into smaller principalities. These divisions were exacerbated by invasions from the Mongols and other nomadic tribes, which further weakened the once mighty state. This fragmentation marked the beginning of a long and complex history of interactions between Ukraine and Russia, marked by both cooperation and conflict. Over the centuries, the legacy of the Kievan Rus would be claimed by both nations, each seeing it as a foundational part of their own history and identity. Following the disintegration of the Kievan Rus, Ukrainian lands became a battleground for competing empires. This period marked the beginning of a long and complex history of foreign domination and internal strife. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, the Russian Empire, and the Ottoman Empire all vied for control, leaving a lasting impact on Ukrainian society. Each empire brought its own culture, religion, and governance, deeply influencing the social fabric of the region. This tumultuous history shaped Ukraine's identity as a nation caught between East and West. The constant tug-of-war between these powerful neighbors created a unique blend of Eastern and Western influences in Ukrainian culture, language, and traditions. Polish culture, language, and Catholicism spread eastward, influencing the local nobility and urban centers. The Polish nobility established schools, churches, and cultural institutions, leaving a lasting legacy in the western parts of Ukraine. The city of Lviv became a center of Polish influence. Its architecture, educational institutions, and cultural life were heavily shaped by Polish traditions, making it a vibrant hub of Polish-Ukrainian interaction. Meanwhile, the Russian Empire expanded its dominion over eastern Ukraine. Russian policies aimed at integrating Ukraine into the empire brought significant changes to the region's administrative and social structures. The Cossacks, fiercely independent warriors, played a pivotal role in this struggle for control. Known for their military prowess and democratic traditions, the Cossacks were both a formidable force and a symbol of Ukrainian resistance. Initially allied with the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, they later revolted and sought protection from the Russian Tsar. This alliance with Russia, however, came with its own set of challenges and compromises for the Cossacks. The Ottoman Empire also exerted its influence on Ukraine's southern shores. Their presence was felt through trade, military incursions, and cultural exchanges, particularly in the coastal regions. The fortress of Odessa became a center of Ottoman trade and a symbol of their presence in the region. This strategic port city facilitated commerce and cultural interactions between the Ottoman Empire and Ukraine, leaving a lasting imprint on the local heritage. The Russian Revolution of 1917 ushered in a new era for Ukraine. Following a brief period of independence, Ukraine was incorporated into the Soviet Union as the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. This union brought both modernization and immense suffering. The Soviet government implemented policies aimed at suppressing Ukrainian national identity and culture. The Ukrainian language and literature were marginalized, while Russian was promoted as the language of progress and unity. The collectivization of agriculture had devastating consequences for Ukraine. Forced collectivization, coupled with unrealistic grain procurement quotas, led to widespread famine. The Holodomor, a man-made famine from 1932 to 1933, killed millions of Ukrainians. Despite the hardships, Ukraine also experienced significant industrial and economic development. The Donbas region became a major industrial center. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a turning point for Ukraine. On August 24, 1991, Ukraine declared its independence. This historic event, supported by a referendum, ushered in a new era of hope and uncertainty. Ukraine inherited a complex legacy from the Soviet era, including a struggling economy and a corrupt political system. Despite these difficulties, Ukraine embarked on a path of democratic reforms and economic liberalization. It sought to establish closer ties with the West. The Orange Revolution of 2004 demonstrated the Ukrainian people's commitment to democracy. The peaceful nature of these protests highlighted the strength of Ukraine's civil society. Ukraine's journey since independence has been marked by both progress and setbacks. Before we continue, a quick favor. If you're finding this breakdown insightful, hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps us bring you more in-depth analyses like this. And don't forget to subscribe to join our growing community. Now let's dive back into the story. The end of the Cold War brought about a realignment of power in Europe. The dissolution of the Soviet Union led to the emergence of new independent states, including Ukraine. NATO expanded eastward, incorporating former Soviet satellites and republics. This expansion was met with suspicion and resentment in Moscow. Russia, under Vladimir Putin, viewed NATO's eastward expansion as a threat. Putin lamented the collapse of the Soviet Union. He sought to reassert Russia's influence in its near abroad. The relationship between NATO and Russia became increasingly strained. Russia's military intervention in Georgia in 2008 raised alarm bells in Western capitals. It signaled Russia's willingness to use military force to pursue its geopolitical objectives. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 was a pivotal moment in Ukraine-Russia relations. Following the Euromaidan Revolution, Russia moved swiftly to seize control of Crimea. A hastily organized referendum, widely condemned as illegitimate, was held, and Crimea was formally annexed by Russia. Western countries imposed sanctions on Russia. The annexation of Crimea had a profound impact on Ukraine. It lost control of a strategically important territory. The event also deepened divisions within Ukrainian society. The annexation of Crimea challenged the principle of territorial integrity. This event marked a turning point in relations between Russia and the West. It ushered in a period of heightened tensions and mistrust. Donald Trump's presidency introduced a new and controversial chapter in the West's approach to the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Trump's personal admiration for Vladimir Putin and his skepticism of NATO led to policies that often diverged from those of his predecessors. Trump repeatedly questioned the value of NATO. He also expressed skepticism about the intelligence community's assessment of Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. In 2019, Trump became the first U.S. president to withhold military aid to Ukraine. Trump's approach was widely criticized by both Democrats and Republicans in Congress. Despite the controversy, Trump also imposed new sanctions on Russia. These actions, however, were often overshadowed by his rhetoric. Various proposals for a ceasefire in eastern Ukraine have been put forward. These proposals typically involve military disengagement, constitutional reforms, and international monitoring mechanisms. While a ceasefire would save lives, the potential implications are complex. Any agreement perceived as rewarding Russia for its aggression could have destabilizing consequences. For Ukraine, a ceasefire that freezes the conflict along current lines would legitimize Russia's control over Crimea and parts of the Donbas. Ukraine's territorial integrity would be compromised. For Russia, a ceasefire that falls short of its goals is unlikely to be seen as a lasting solution. Russia may use a ceasefire to regroup and prepare for further aggression. A sustainable peace requires a comprehensive approach that addresses the root causes of the conflict. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has profound and enduring consequences for both Ukraine and Russia. This conflict, which has been raging for years, has not only reshaped the political landscape but also deeply affected the lives of millions of people on both sides. It has reshaped geopolitical alliances and fueled a new era of great power competition. NATO and other international bodies have had to reconsider their strategies and alliances in response to the shifting dynamics in Eastern Europe. For Ukraine, the conflict has been a crucible of national identity and resilience. The struggle has brought the nation together, fostering a stronger sense of unity and purpose among its people. The conflict has exposed the weaknesses of Ukraine's institutions, highlighting the need for continued reforms. These reforms are crucial for building a more robust and transparent governance structure that can withstand future challenges. For Russia, the conflict has led to international isolation and economic sanctions. These sanctions have had a significant impact on the Russian economy, affecting everything from trade to everyday life for ordinary citizens. The Kremlin's narrative of a besieged Russia has fueled nationalist sentiment. This narrative has been used to justify the government's actions and to rally public support, even as the country faces increasing international pressure. However, the conflict has also come at a cost in terms of human life and economic well-being. The toll on civilians has been devastating, with countless lives lost and communities torn apart. The conflict's enduring legacy will depend on the choices that leaders make in the years to come. Their decisions will shape the future of the region, determining whether it will move towards peace and stability or continue to be mired in conflict. A peaceful resolution, based on respect for international law, is essential for lasting stability in the region. The international community must come together to support efforts for peace, ensuring that the sacrifices made are not in vain and that a brighter future can be achieved for all. A quick favor: if you're finding this breakdown insightful, hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps us bring you more in-depth analyses like this. And don't forget to subscribe to join our growing community.